evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and tonight a special focus is on the Narendra Modi government, the NDA government, completing 1 year in office. What has happened over the past 1 year? We'll be revisiting all that, and we'll be talking about that to a special guest as well. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. NDA government celebrates a year in office. The Prime Minister stresses the importance of agriculture amid opposition's criticism that his government is anti-farmer. Chief Economic Advisor claims Indian economy on recovery path, assures poor monsoon won't shoot up inflation. India Inc. claims investment sentiment has improved. Power tussle in Delhi gets worse. Aam Aadmi Party moves a resolution in Assembly seeking power to impeach the Lieutenant Governor. The BJP objects to the motion moved against the centre's notification. Swiss authorities reveal 6 Indian names facing tax probe. Finance Minister reacts, says illegal assets no longer safe abroad. And heat wave continues to scorch most parts of the country. Over 750 dead, mostly in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. A top story this evening, 1 year of the Narendra Modi government in office. An open letter to the nation in the form of a newspaper ad, meetings with the President, the Vice President and the PMO staff, and launching a farmer-centric 24-hour channel. This is how Prime Minister Narendra Modi marked the first anniversary of his as Prime Minister and the NDA government. Now, the message in all his communication with the public was the same: how the NDA government had rejuvenated a languishing economy and built on a stable, policy-driven, proactive governance model.
A letter to the nation in the form of a newspaper ad. Marking his 1 year in office, Prime Minister Narendra Modi talks about various issues from setting up IITs, IIMs and AIIMS to the Swachh Bharat mission and the economy. In his letter, the Prime Minister once again hit out at the opposition, saying his government was handed over the reins at a time when the India story was waning. But his government systematically addressed all challenges, brought runaway prices under control and rejuvenated the languishing economy. He also projected his government's pro-poor image, saying they were dedicated to working for the poor, the marginalized and those left behind. In this direction, the Prime Minister also launched Doordarshan's farmer-centric channel DD Kisan. Addressing farmers at the channel's launch, Modi said that agriculture must be encouraged in India.
ये बात हमें मान करके चलना पड़ेगा कि हमारे देश को आगे ले जाना है तो हमारे देश के गांवों को आगे ले जाना ही पड़ेगा। गांव को आगे ले जाना है तो कृषि को प्राथमिकता देते हुए उसको बढ़ावा देना ही पड़ेगा।
Earlier in the day, the Prime Minister met President Pranab Mukherjee and Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari. Narendra Modi tweeted a picture of his meeting with the President at Rashtrapati Bhavan, while he met Vice President Ansari and his wife at their residence in Delhi. The Prime Minister also interacted with all officers of the PMO and said his experience had been that government functionaries and the common man think alike, and if given the right atmosphere, government machinery can deliver results for the common man. Addressing them as Team PMO, Modi praised the officers for the hard work and dedication with which they have performed their duties. In his meeting with the officers, the Prime Minister was given an overview of the various reforms and changes that have been initiated in the PMO over the last 1 year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And BJP President Amit Shah addressed the media as the government led by his party completed a year in office. He claimed that under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the government is able to tackle corruption to a large extent. He also said that the trust deficit during the previous UPA regime is now gone and the pride of the Prime Minister's office has been restored.
As the NDA government completes 1 year on Tuesday, BJP President Amit Shah highlighted his party's achievements during this period. Lauding the government's efforts to curb corruption, he said that the centre is determined to bring back black money to India.
मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता जनता के पास पब्लिक मैंडेट लेने के लिए गए थे, उस वक्त हमने वचन दिया था कि हम भ्रष्टाचार को इस व्यवस्था से उखाड़ कर फेंक देंगे। मुझे आपको बताते हुए बहुत आनंद हो रहा है मित्रों, एक साल में हमारे विरोधी भी इस सरकार पर भ्रष्टाचार का कोई आरोप नहीं लगा सकते।
He also praised Shah on the Prime Minister, saying that he had led the country out of trust deficit or policy paralysis seen during the previous regime.
पहले देश की सरकार पर देश की जनता को भरोसा नहीं था कि सरकार देश को कहां पर ले जाएगी। देश के प्रधानमंत्री पर देश की कैबिनेट को भरोसा नहीं था और ब्यूरोक्रेसी को प्रधानमंत्री पर भरोसा नहीं था। आज वो विश्वास का संकट टल गया है।
Shah also listed out various initiatives by the government to counter opposition's charges that it was anti-poor and anti-farmer.
यूपीए की सरकार WTO के अंदर किसानों के हित को गिरो रखकर आई थी। वहां एक समझौते पर सैद्धांतिक स्वीकृति दी थी कि भारत किसान को मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस नहीं दे सकता। हमने जाकर वहां एक दृढ़ स्टैंड लिया कि हम ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन के हिस्से तो बनना चाहते हैं, मगर हमारी प्रायोरिटी है कि इस देश के किसान को मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस मिले।
Known as the man who was instrumental behind BJP's massive win last year in the Lok Sabha polls, Amit Shah is now eyeing victory in the forthcoming Bihar Assembly elections. He said BJP will keep all options open to tie up with other parties for the polls. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
However, the Modi government was at the receiving end from the opposition for its functioning in the last 1 year. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi led the charge as the party slammed the government's close proximity to industrialists. Rahul Gandhi said that the government has done little for the farmers or the poor.
With celebrations across the nation on the anniversary of NDA's 1 year in power, the opposition blasted the government, saying they have been merely concentrated on hogging the limelight than making any real improvement. Leading the attack was Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi himself. Speaking at a rally in Kerala, Rahul took a dig at the Modi government, accusing it of being apathetic to the woes of the farmers in the country. He also questioned the government's intentions on the land acquisition bill.
Unfortunately, the celebration is for a few friends of the government. Something that shows the intention of the NDA government was that if the land is not used within 5 years, if the project has not been started within 5 years, then that land should go back to the farmer. The BJP government, for some reason, is in a very, very big hurry to change this law.
Mounting a multi-pronged attack on the Modi government, the key opposition party Congress said the government's policy changes have only benefited the industrialists.
Well, the last 1 year has demonstrated that the BJP NDA government is not only a government of the corporates, by the corporates, for the corporates, but more than soot-boot ki sarkar, it is jhoot-moot ki sarkar.
The opposition claims the government lacked economic vision and fiscal direction to its projects. They also accuse that the government failed to pay heed to several calls for major reforms and bypassed all to pass their own propaganda.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी प्रचारक रहे हैं और अभी भी वो एक अच्छे प्रचारक हैं और तमाम कमियों के बावजूद जो एक वर्ष उनका रहा है, हर क्षेत्र में, किसी भी क्षेत्र में ये नहीं कहा जाए कि संतोषजनक कार्य हुआ है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद वो क्रेडिट लेने में कामयाब हुए हैं।
The opposition parties led by Congress have been campaigning the alleged failures of the NDA government for the past few days. Congress has been particularly sharp in its attack, with top leaders terming the first year of the government as a complete failure. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And we're joined by Sanjay Singh, political editor at First Post, to help us understand 1 year of Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of this country. Sanjay, tell us, what do you think? How has it fared? Because we are hearing rhetoric from both sides, but a lot has been done and a lot of things still need to be done as well.
I think, Ishan, Modi government has made a good beginning in the first year. Policies and other actions are in right direction. Of course, it takes a long time to get the kind of delivery that Modi wanted to be, or at least what he promised to be. What was interesting, as you were saying, Modi's open letter to public India today, the stress is on word we. And therefore, he goes on to meet to BJP workers, BJP staffers at party headquarters, those who served him during the time he was General Secretary, and as also the newcomers. The message was that at this moment, when he is celebrating 1 year in power, he actually is looking in terms of we, not I. Though the fact remains that this is Modi's government, we all know. Of course, it should also be Modi's government, because in any case, this election was about Modi, and Modi was central focus of this government. So whatever happens or does not happen, the buck ultimately rests at Modi. And there is no denying, nor BJP is also projecting that way. What has happened in last few days, that BJP somehow in last 1 year, BJP communication skills somewhat had taken a dip. They had taken a beating in perception war. While finalizing their programs for 1 year, they made mistakes, and therefore during that I think this idea came of they are actually celebrating this as Jan Kalyan Parv, whereas it has turned out to be a mass contact program on part of the BJP. The idea of going to Deen Dayal Upadhyay's village and there to officially launch Jan Kalyan Parv, he talks at length about farmers. He also that place is also some 20-25 kilometers away from Mathura. And as Modi himself yesterday said, generally the practice is when you go for celebrations on such occasions, you choose big cities. The message was that Modi is looking for areas where other leaders would not venture to go. Deen Dayal Upadhyay, of course, is foremost ideologue of BJP, skilled organizer and held in great esteem by BJP leaders, their foremost icon, somebody who died under very mysterious circumstances. But then the fact remains, don't forget, this was also UP, Uttar Pradesh, which is politically very sensitive, and Modi represents Uttar Pradesh.
And it goes to the polls in 2 years.
Precisely. And then his concept was, his political philosophy was of Antyodaya, which means helping somebody who was last in the queue in the social ladder. And therefore, Modi is trying to give a message that his government was for farmers. And as your story also said, today he launches Kisan channel. And therefore, the whole stress, the narrative, the counter narrative that was there, that this is of corporate government, he is trying to portray that his government is for poor.
All right, so a little bit of a course correction happening as far as the communication strategy, but we've spoken a lot, and that is what I've also been noticing as far as media coverage, Sanjay, is that a lot of stress on the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister, or rather the government, functions not just solely from the Prime Minister's office. So what about the other ministers? Have they been able to stay abreast with the Prime Minister as he grows on this blistering space?
Ishan, let us accept one fact, and this is by and large also all management gurus and everybody accepts that in a given team, only if a team is of 11 or whatever numbers or whatever size, only performers constitute only 30-40%. And rest of them, some of them, even if they are average, they cling on, and poor performers subsequently get weeded away, or even if they carry along, they carry along just because performance of some others are above par. And therefore, the onus on those who are performing in this government is very high. And Modi himself, right from the beginning, the stress is on Modi. And therefore, Modi, if you look at him, he works a lot. He is a hard taskmaster. But then the fact remains that yes, that talent crunch is obviously there. Talent crunch was there. And therefore, you saw that Manohar Parrikar was brought in from Goa. Suresh Prabhu was brought in from Shiv Sena, though he was technically not in Shiv Sena, but from other streams he was not even an MP.
Yeah, he was out of the cold.
Yeah. And so were some other ministers. And therefore he is trying to bridge that deficit. And 1 year has gone by. The problem is for Modi has unleashed a revolution of aspirations. The expectation level for Modi is very high. The burden of expectation is too high. If you compare Modi government with UPA, then Modi has performed kind of very well. But the fact remains that burden, if you look from the perspective of the kind of promises that he made, of course, Modi will have to work very hard to achieve those.
All right, so indeed a lot of hard work over the next 4 years, but 1 year has been good so far as start is concerned. Let's see where the start takes us. Sanjay Singh, thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand Modi's 1 year in power a little better. Well, staying with the same story though, Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramaniam has allayed fears that a deficit monsoon will stoke up inflation. He assured that India has ample food stocks to arrest inflationary pressures. However, he said that the Indian economy is on a recovery mode and that the RBI has scope for more rate cuts.
Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramanian asserted that the spectre of deficient monsoon rainfall may not cast cloud over India's growth and inflation outlook. He, however, expressed concern over plunge in rural income in the wake of deficient rainfall.
The economy is, recovering. There are some signs that it's picking up, but it's really important that in the short run, the economy needs policy support to boost, consumption. The real reason to worry about the monsoon is first what it's going to do to rural incomes, and second, what the impact on inflation is going to be. And I think on inflation, if we can release stocks on time, we can use our buffer well, I think that is more manageable.
He also said that the RBI has scope to ease its monetary policy, hinting at more rate cuts in the future.
The inflation forecast is certainly, my reading is that it's going to be lower than the RBI's target and fiscal policy is supporting, and so that has implications for interest rates going forward.
Dip in factory output for the month of March and low retail and wholesale inflation in April has revamped industry clamour for cut in RBI policy rate on 2nd June to boost growth. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Narendra Modi government has received a thumbs up from corporate India as well on its first anniversary. Indian industry leaders espouse an overwhelming belief in the steps taken by the government to usher in economic growth. Industry chambers feel restoration of investor confidence and establishment of brand India are major achievements of the government in its first year.
The corporate India vouches that the euphoria after Modi took over charge last year hasn't quite died down yet. It has lauded the government's focus on non-adversarial, corruption-free and predictable policy regime, buoying investor sentiments.
They had set up themselves a tall target, but they've achieved a lot. And I think the biggest achievement that they have had, if you look at it as an overall achievement, is the fact that they created a positive sentiment and they've instilled investor confidence, which I think was completely going down.
The India Inc. has also backed the government's decision to press ahead with 40,000 crore rupees minimum alternate tax demand on foreign institutional investors. It maintains that legitimate taxes should not be perceived as tax terrorism.
I think a lot of these 40,000 crore demands were demands which were legitimate or are legitimate in the eyes of the government. So I think pursuing them is good. Maybe the timing was bad.
India Inc. is hopeful that the government will focus on accomplishing the work-in-progress agenda through continuous policy action and reforms. A big bang reform or a big-ticket investment project is yet to take off. But corporate India lauds the motivation, the intention and the direction of the Modi government to put India on a higher growth trajectory. Industry leaders feel that Narendra Modi cannot be expected to bring about a turnaround in just 1 year, but are confident that steps taken by him will bear fruits of development very soon. Reporting from Delhi, Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, that wraps up our special segment on Narendra Modi's first year in government. But we'll take a quick break right now. And coming up on the other side, the centre tells the court that Greenpeace India has violated FCRA norms by merging foreign donations with domestic funds. More on that row after the break.
आजादी के बाद कैसे बदला परिवेश, कैसे बनी संसद, कैसे उठा देश।
When the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
कौन थे वो लोग जो दे गए हमको शानदार विरासत, लोकतंत्र की मजबूत इमारत। राज्यसभा टेलीविजन।
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, the Aam Aadmi Party has passed a resolution asking for powers to be able to impeach the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. The resolution was passed on the first day of an emergency two-day assembly session amid the bitter spat between Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung over the appointment of bureaucrats.
The bitter power tussle in Delhi between Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and LG Najib Jung worsened on Tuesday. On the first day of the two-day emergency assembly session, the AAP moved a resolution seeking powers to impeach the LG. The resolution comes after a week of confrontation between the two offices over appointments of bureaucrats. The party also introduced a motion against the centre's notification backing the LG, which was adopted by the assembly.
सरकारिया कमीशन का रिकमेंडेशन था उसी तरह 155 एंड 156 सेक्शन को कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का अमेंड किया जाए, जैसे कि स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर्स को भी पावर हो गवर्नर लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर को इम्पीच करने की। तो मैंने ये मांग की है कि ये असेंबली ये रेजोल्यूशन पास करे कि पार्लियामेंट को ये बोला जाए कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के सेक्शन 155 156 को अमेंड किया जाए।
However, BJP, the only opposition party in the assembly, raised objections over the motion against centre's notification. The party said that the matter should now be resolved in the court.
जो टकराव चल रहा है, सो कॉल्ड टकराव, वो टकराव नहीं है, संविधान के इंटरप्रिटेशन का मामला है। संविधान का इंटरप्रिटेशन राज्य सरकार एक तरीके से कर रही है, केंद्र सरकार दूसरे तरीके से कर रही है। मामला कोर्ट में जाएगा, अपने आप मामला सेटल हो जाएगा। इससे राज्यों के साथ दुर्व्यवहार का कोई मामला नहीं है भैया, संविधान के इंटरप्रिटेशन का मामला है, उसकी व्याख्या का मामला है।
Earlier, Kejriwal met Jung on Tuesday morning. This was the first meeting between the two since the confrontation began. The meeting came a day after the High Court ruled that Delhi's Anti-Corruption Bureau can initiate action against corrupt central officials. Kejriwal sees the ruling as a major embarrassment for the centre, which he accused of trying to rule Delhi through the LG. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Swiss authorities have revealed names of scores of foreign nationals with Swiss accounts facing probes in their respective countries for tax evasion. Among those were names of 6 Indians: industrialist Yash Birla, son-in-law of late realty Baron Pontichada, Gurjeet Singh Kochar, Syed Mohammad Masood, Chaud Kausar Mohammad Masood, Snelata Sawhney and Sangeeta Sawhney. The Swiss Federal Tax Administration has asked these people to file an appeal within 30 days before the Federal Administrative Court if they do not want their details to be shared with the Indian authorities under their Mutual Assistance Treaty on tax matters. Reacting to the development, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said it's no more safe to stash assets illegally abroad.
In the last 1 year, we've had extensive negotiations with the Swiss authorities. These negotiations have been at the level of the Revenue Secretary, at my own level on 2 occasions, and the Swiss authorities have been moving in the direction of cooperation. I'm delighted that this cooperation could not have fructified on a better day when our government completes this 1 year. This should give a sufficient indicator to those who hold assets outside India.
Now, soaring temperatures have gripped parts of southern and northern India in an extreme heat wave which has killed more than 750 people and looks set to continue this week. Now, neither the central government nor state governments have relief plans in place. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana have been the worst affected states. The Weather Department though says that hailstorms in the region in the next few days might bring some respite.
A stifling heat wave has killed more than 750 people across the country. The worst hit are the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, where over 550 deaths have been reported. Temperatures in the region are hovering nearly 4 to 5 degrees above normal. The Met Department has issued red box warnings for Odisha, Jharkhand and Andhra Pradesh, which means there are high chances of heat stroke, dehydration and fatality with temperatures crossing 45 degrees Celsius. Besides these states, the heat wave could worsen in parts of Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh over the next 2 days.
Today, marginally, there will be higher temperatures up to 45 degrees or so, and then gradually they will be reducing. Maybe by tomorrow, some thunderstorm activities would start in Telangana area and also in coastal Andhra Pradesh area.
The effect of heat stroke, heat wave conditions in Krishna district is very severe over the past 5 to 6 days, with the temperature reaching to 47 to 48 degrees Celsius too, even some areas. Now the people have been advised through various mediums of communication to take adequate precautions in this regard.
While the rest of India continues to simmer under the intense heat wave, the higher reaches of Rajouri district in Jammu and Kashmir received fresh snowfall on Monday. The sudden change in weather has been caused by a western disturbance over the region.
मई और जून में कहीं बर्फ नहीं मिलती, इवन गुलमर्ग में भी बर्फ नहीं है इस वक्त, लेकिन यहाँ पे इस वक्त बर्फ है। तो वही इस जगह की उपलब्धि है कि इस जगह में अभी वहाँ से ज्यादा टूरिस्ट यहाँ आना चाहिए।
फ्रेश स्नोफॉल हुआ है, जबकि पूरे हिंदुस्तान में गर्मी के लोग जल रही है। यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं कितना फ्रेश मौसम, शाम को फ्रेश स्नोफॉल हुआ था, अभी कोई आधे घंटे पहले फ्रेश स्नोफॉल हुआ।
Despite its periodic incidents and very high levels of mortality, heat wave is not considered a natural disaster. In comparison, the cold wave, which also kills hundreds of people during winter, is in the government's list of natural disasters, and the victims are entitled to compensation besides access to other forms of relief. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
For all the other national news, let's take you nationwide. Retired Lieutenant General Nirbhaya Sharma was today sworn in as the 8th Governor of Mizoram. Lieutenant General Sharma was transferred and appointed as the Mizoram Governor on the 12th of May, replacing West Bengal Governor K. Srinath Tripathi, who had additional charge of Mizoram. Entering the 6th day of their agitation to press for 5% reservation in government jobs, Gujar on Tuesday remained adamant for calling the Committee of Ministers for talks. The Gujars want the talks to be held in Bharatpur to try and resolve the issue, even as they continue to block rail tracks. The Union Government on Tuesday told the Delhi High Court that Greenpeace India had violated Foreign Contribution Regulation Act by merging its foreign donations with domestic ones. Greenpeace had filed a plea against the cancellation of its registration, saying it was facing imminent shutdown after the government closed down its accounts. Well, that's a wrap on News Tonight, but before we go, we'll leave you with some international news because tensions have escalated in the South China Sea as Japan today announced that they will take part in a major US-Australian military exercise in July. Now, this is part of Washington's efforts to step up cooperation among its allies in the face of a strong opposition from China. Meanwhile, Taiwan has proposed a peace plan to resolve territorial disputes in the South China Sea.
In the wake of brewing tensions in South China Sea, China has outlined a defense strategy to boost its naval capabilities. The new strategy comes just days after a US spy plane was spotted flying near the region. Both US and China have accused each other of stoking instability in the region. China also sent out a strong warning to Philippines, asking it to stop provocations over the South China Sea. This just a day after Philippines pleaded for a strong commitment from the US against construction activities by China. China has defended the construction of lighthouses, saying it is for the benefit of all who passed through the waters.
以来呢，非方的一些人在南海问题上的躁动，那么中方已经明确地阐述了有关的立场。我想善意地提醒非方。
As the war of words intensifies, Taiwan has come out with a peace proposal. A South China Sea peace initiative calls on claimants to temporarily shelve their disagreements to enable negotiations on sharing resources.
First of all, exercise restraint, safeguard peace and stability in the South China Sea, and refrain from taking any unilateral action that might escalate tension.
Making matters worse is Japan's announcement of joining the US-Australian military exercise, a sign of growing security links between the US, Japan and Australia against China's South Sea ambitions. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.